Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to be going through some studying tips and we're going to do a deep dive into how to get the most out of your practice problems. So think about how you study. Does this sound familiar to you? When I get stuck, I look at the solutions manual. I go through my homework with the TA. I look online for a solution. I do as many practice problems as I can. If this sounds like you, don't worry. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. I just want you to be more efficient. None of the above are bad, but I want you to consider something. The first is, what does it mean to be stuck? When you're stuck, does that mean you have absolutely, honestly no idea how to proceed? Does it mean you have an idea, you just don't really want to waste the time if you're wrong? Or does it mean it's a little bit hard and you really don't want to do that algebra? If you get stuck and you could easily or with a little bit of effort push yourself through it, going to the solutions manual or a TA is going to be ineffective. All that's going to do is waste your time. It's going to make your TA really good at answering that question, but it's not going to teach you anything. And when you're on a test and you can't ask those questions anymore, suddenly you're going to have to push through anyway, so you might as well gain those skills. When you're stuck, it means you literally have no clue what to do next. That is when you need to start seeking out help. The next is when you open up that solutions manual or you ask a tutor or you ask a TA, what are you using those solutions for? Do you want just the answer? Do you want to know exactly the steps you were supposed to have taken? If so, neither of those two things are going to be effective. We'll talk about why later, but I want you to consider that when you're doing your homework, when you're doing your practice, the point is to gain the knowledge, not the answer. And finally, what kinds of help are you asking for? If you go to a TA and you say, I don't know how to do question 4, and that TA tells you exactly how to do question number 4, you have wasted everyone's time. And the reason for that is because the point of question 4 wasn't to get the answer to question 4. The point was to gain a particular skill, and you wouldn't have gotten that if someone else did it for you. Now let's think a little bit more about how we can be ineffective. First of all is looking for the steps you're supposed to take. In post-secondary education, we have a shift from taking steps to solving particular types of problems into understanding the theory that we can apply to solve any problem. Now, that's a pretty lofty goal. And when you think about it, realistically, you're not going to be able to just walk into a room after you get your degree and solve any problem in the world. But if you're looking for a set of formulas or steps that are going to help you solve a particular problem, and then you come and you have another problem almost the same but different, you're going to be stuck again. Don't look for the steps. Next is asking if the answer is right or wrong. I get this question a lot. Did I do it right? Is this the answer? The problem is that I can say yes or no to that. And then you'll say, oh good, I got the answer, or no, I didn't get the answer, and you move on. But that is ineffective. If you can't answer that question, if you don't know, then you're not gaining those metacognitive skills, those capacities to look back on what you're doing and understanding that you did something right or wrong. And if you don't have that, again, you're on a test, you get an answer. Was it right? I don't know. I can't ask that anymore. So now what are you going to do? Will you hand in a paper you're not confident about? Or should you have gone back and learned those skills to evaluate yourself critically and determine whether or not you were right or wrong on your own? Now let's say you got really, really stuck. You did go to the TA, you got an answer. You said, okay, I can do that. And you moved on to the next question. That's ineffective because once the TA tells you an answer, it's probably going to be really obvious what you should have done. But then you're going to get stuck again because that next problem is a little bit different. And you go to the TA and you ask the question. Well, all you're really doing is training your TA to answer those questions. The TA is going to get really good at it. Maybe you're going through your solutions manual. Well, you're going to be really good at finding the right page in the solutions manual. But you are not learning how to do those problems. You get stuck again and again and again because you're not addressing the fundamental problem, which is a lack of understanding. Look at why you got stuck. Finally, this is something I was guilty of, especially in my first year. I would open up the solutions manual, I would read it and say, oh, that's how you do it, and I would move on. Well, hang on a second. Of course I understood how to do it because someone explained everything I was missing. What was I missing? Why was I missing it? Those were questions I didn't ask, and I would get stuck again and again and again. Something really interesting. There's my favorite study about this. It came out of South Korea. And in South Korea, there are a number of standardized exams that students take. These exams are used among many things to get into university. One of them was a physics exam, and physics was really easy to study because it has practice problems you can do and there are numerical answers. And so the researchers looked at how many practice problems students did and then correlated that to how well they did on the exam. Now, logically, the students who did the most practice problems should have done the best, but that was the complete opposite as to what happened. In fact, the students who did the fewest problems did the best. The students who did the most problems did the worst. But that's only after you control for the amount of time they spend studying. So the student who did the fewest problems spent the same amount of time studying as the students who did the most problems. So what were they getting out of those practice problems that the ones who were just running through the big giant book of problems didn't get? Let's look at how to be effective. If you're doing a problem and you get stuck, you first need to recognize that you're actually stuck. I want you to consider the difference. Actually stuck means I am missing something. I do not have the thing I need in my brain, in my notes, wherever it is. I cannot solve this problem with what I currently have. Not being stuck means I don't want to solve this problem because it looks like it's going to be hard. I'm not entirely sure if this method is correct. I can just put up my hand and get the answer, right? Being stuck means you will not be able to move forward just by the sheer force of will alone. You need to get help at that point, but only at that point. Before you do, though, you need to plan. I want you to make 3 lists. What did you do? What do you think you're supposed to do? Even if you're stuck, you probably have a good idea. If you're working on a problem in physics, you're not going to sit there and say, I need to analyze Shakespeare. You can narrow stuff down. And finally, where do you think you went wrong? If you do, maybe you moved up to a certain point and then you just don't know what to do. Okay, what if you made a mistake? Those 3 things are going to help you to formulate good questions. When you go to your TA and you say, I don't know how to do question 4, what that tells the TA is, give me the steps, tell me the solution, I'll move on from your life. Instead, if you walk up and say, hello, I've done the following 3 things. I think I'm supposed to do X. But I might have gone wrong in step number 2 when I had a choice between doing Y or Z and I chose Y. Can you please tell me if that was the right solution? What that's going to do is tell your TA that you're looking for help understanding how to move through the problem. And then, because you've asked such a good question, well, should I have taken the derivative or should I have taken the zeros? Oh, I did this incorrectly because I went down the wrong path. And then once you know that, you can change what you did. You can unwind it and you can do it again, and maybe you won't be stuck again. Finally, if your TA can't answer or you don't want to go to the TA because often searching on your own is a good idea, then search. Answer the question with the resources you have. Go into your notes. Maybe your notes are missing something fundamental. Go into the textbook. Asking someone for help is important as long as you ask the right questions. But if you can solve the problem on your own, you're going to develop significant skills and move yourself forward. So what do you need to change? Think differently about your practice problems. They are there to help you to learn. They are not there to help you answer practice problems. If you sit there and say, well, I did 100 practice problems last night, but you didn't learn anything, what was the point of that? I want you to become more efficient. I want you to switch your mindset from I need the answer to this problem to I need the knowledge to solve this problem. If I tell you the answer is 6 and you got 8, that's not helping you. You need to figure out, why did I get 8? Why am I wrong here? What did I misunderstand? I want you to do fewer problems more effectively. If you're going to spend an hour studying and you do 3 problems in an hour, but you really understood the concepts to solve them, that is way more effective than doing 20 problems in an hour, but having no clue how to actually do it because you kept on looking at the solutions manual asking your TA for help. I want you to throw your solutions manual away. When someone tells you how to do something, it's not going to help you. The skills you need to gain are how to evaluate on your own how you can help yourself, how you can identify those knowledge gaps and how you can fill them. A solutions manual is never going to help you with that. I hope that was effective, because what I want you to do right now is close this video, open up a textbook and do 2 practice problems. If you're stuck, figure out why on your own. Good luck.